Hello, I'd like to show you how to pipe line work. So now you know how to fill your bags with royal icing. I've got a number 2 piping tube here in a small bag because it's a small tip tube. Small bag, small amount of royal icing so you can handle it properly. You put your thumb on the top, fingers each side, and then rest it on your other hand. Now when you're piping, you need to practice how to squeeze. So you squeeze the royal icing and then you stop. And that's what you need to practice, just the control of the piping bag. When you come to pipe a line, you need to anchor it. So I'm touching the surface. So this is a tile, you can touch the cake. So you anchor the royal icing to the tile. You squeeze and you lift, and can you see I can squeeze and I'm lifting, I can move it around if I wanted to, and I'll squeeze, stop squeezing, and then I bring it down. And as you bring it down again, you touch the tile and come off. Anchor, lift, stop squeezing, come down. So anchor, lift, stop squeezing, come down. Now you've got to be careful at the tip here, that when you anchor, you don't form too much of a blob. So if you pipe too much, you'll end up with a big blob. Okay, so it's only touching that you need to do. Now if you don't lift the bag as you're piping and you drag it, it won't come out very neat. It'll come out all lumpy and bumpy. So it is important that when you're piping, you lift the tube and then you can place it where you want to go. Okay. So I'm trying to give you a few things that might go wrong. So if, for example, it breaks as you're piping, okay, you say, oh, Karen, it's breaking. Okay. Then what's happening there is as you're piping, you're not squeezing hard enough. So slow down with your piping, slow it down, squeeze a little bit harder, and then you won't have that breaking going on. If it pops, and you can sometimes hear it pop, then usually that's an air bubble and you can't do anything about that. So you always have your paintbrush on hand and you can take off that line off the cake and replace it. So anchor, lift, bring it down. Anchor, lift, bring it down. You can go across. I can't emphasise more with this. The more you practice with your piping, the better you'll become. It's all about controlling the piping bag. So handling it, holding it correctly, handling, making sure nothing comes out the top, being able to anchor correctly, to pipe a straight line. And you can see that I'm lifting the lines as I go. Okay. Something else you can practice, takes a little bit more practice, is a scallop. So I'm going to use the same skill, anchor, lift, stop squeezing and come down. Anchor, lift, stop squeezing and come down. So you can see that I'm forming a pattern. The first thing everybody wants to do is write the name when they're doing line work. But if you've really got to get the skill, this skill, you know, really got to work on it. And okay, you might find that it's not as easy as you think, but that's normal. It's something that comes with practice. And although you might think, oh, I'm making it look easy, I have been doing it for quite a few years, so I've had lots of practice. But I do remember when I was first showed how to do piping skills, how difficult it was. So I've just piped some scallops there. Okay. But it is a matter, and you can pipe very long lines with this. can you see? Hopefully you can see how much I'm lifting that piping tube. As soon as you come into the end, stop squeezing and come down. Yeah, brilliant. I'm really pleased that happened because I wanted to show you that I had an air bubble, and sometimes that happens. Just take it off. So that wasn't because I wasn't squeezing hard enough, it was just that I had an air bubble and I actually heard it pop as well. But always have your paintbrush, clean your surface and your back working. I can pipe shapes, but each time it's anchor, lift, stop squeezing and come down. So it's the same technique I'm using, anchor, lift and come down. And sometimes when you're piping, paintbrush again, tidy up, move away. When you're piping, if you think, oh no, it's not the right place, you can move it around. You can lift it up and move it where you want to go. You can see that I'm always cleaning my tube. You might not see it, it might be out of shot, but I've got a little a damp cloth here that I'm cleaning my tube on. Okay. So that's with a number 2 tube. I can practice with any of my tubes. A number 1 is finer, and what I recommend you do is practice with this one as well. And where I suggest you practice is over piping. There's number 2s. The bigger the tube, it's easier it is to pipe. I'm coming down each time and starting again. But any of this line work, the more you practice, the better. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Have a go.